I generated 300 plus leads for my B2B business with one LinkedIn post. This is using a concept called borrowed authority. And I'm going to show you how you can do the same for your SaaS or AI company. And so this single post generated 300 leads, 26,000 impressions, and 20 plus email subscribers for my email list. And this wasn't luck, because this is also the exact same system that I used for another B2B SaaS client to bring him 62 inbound leads in just the first week. And now he's generating hundreds of leads every month through that. And it's the same system that was applied when I was working at a B2B YouTube agency as well, to get another B2B SaaS founder, hundreds of thousands of views, and 2.5 million revenue, directly attributable revenue through YouTube in just 11 months. Most people think, LinkedIn lead gen means that you got to post every day for 6 months and then comment on random strangers' posts who you don't even care about, or grind a lot of manual DMs per day. No, I say scrap all of that. What if instead you could get your dream clients raising their hands for your offer by crafting strategic lead magnet posts that get their attention using a repeatable format called borrowed authority or social jacking, which I'll expand on here in a second. Capture them and book them into your calendar. So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to engineer posts that get you these results. So you can start truly growing your founder-led brand, become a go-to authority in your category, and get the lion's share of clients. And I'm not just going to talk about it. I'm actually going to show you the exact post, break down why it worked, and walk you through how to build your own, even if of a small account, so you can replicate these results. And it starts with understanding why this worked in the first place, this post, because it actually doesn't have much to do with the writing. And I'll show you what I mean, which leads nicely into the first section, which is choosing a winning format, which is borrowed authority, as I call it. So this post didn't actually take off because of some clever copy or some growth hack. It worked because I borrowed a brand my market already trusted. That's called social jacking. So instead of trying to build trust and attention from scratch, which could take months, you actually hijack a brand everyone in your space already knows. So Apollo, for example, in my case, and then you let their name do the heavy lifting in the feed. So the second someone sees a name they recognize, you've already got their attention and you've borrowed a little bit of their credibility. So here's a couple of examples of other people that use this format successfully. So this is Matt Aird, who's in the GTM space. He used HubSpot as the brand name that he essentially hijacked, right? So he's using the borrowed authority format, and it ended up performing really well for him. Ended up getting him a lot of people that raised their hands and wanted his lead magnet, right? And so he captured a lot of leads, and I'm sure he'd booked quite a few demos through that. And another example on the YouTube side of things is this video by Serge Guattari, which performed super well. And I believe this video alone generated him $150,000 in sales, in B2B sales. And that's a trend jacking type of format. So this leads me on to number 2, which is the hook, because this is the second most important thing. And you got to get this right, because if you flop this, then the rest of the post doesn't matter, even if you utilize the borrowed authority format. So the brand name alone is not enough. It's how you frame it in the first line. So the formula is simple. It's you take the brand you're jacking, you attach a specific number or data piece and tie it to a benefit they actually want or a consequence they really don't want. And essentially that specificity is what turns a vague claim into something believable and impossible to ignore. And if you get the hook right, then the rest of the post doesn't even really matter that much. And so, for example, in my case, the way I formed my hook is I'd created a tangible benefit in the audience's mind of what they can achieve. And what I mean by that is I mentioned, Apollo's database has 270 million contacts. 30% of them are outdated by the time you reach them. And that creates a tangible picture in the prospect's mind of like, what if I could actually gain back that 30% that's outdated? How much more data would I be able to access, right? How much better data? And it also creates a picture of data quality as well, which is something people really want in the sales tech space. And so if you want posts written like this for you, without spending months figuring it out, which brands and hooks your market responds to, you can book a call using the first link below, and I'll discuss how this framework and how this content system could be applied to your B2B SaaS or AI company. So number 3 is the lead magnet. So you've stopped the scroll, but the attention isn't a lead yet. Because if the rest of the post is a wall of text with no clear ask, then all that borrowed attention just evaporates. So the thing that actually converts it is the lead magnet, right? You offer something genuinely valuable for free, and the only way to get it is to comment. But most people actually blow this part up because they just give away some generic PDF that nobody actually wants, and then they never end up getting comments, and they never end up getting leads. So the magnet has to be something your ICP would genuinely pay for, because that's the whole reason 300 people raised their hand for my post. And so one framework you could take away for this is you can use the Splinter, which is actually, so this framework is inspired by Hormozy. And so give away one slice of your paid offer, essentially, and pick the piece that's cheap for you to deliver, but high in standalone value. Once they have it, they essentially want the rest of your system, your solution. So name it for the dream outcome as well, desired outcome plus topic plus container word. So one example of this, if you're in the sales tech space, let's say you have a platform, a sales coaching platform that helps account executives and closers, close better, right? Then you could give away one slice of that. And that little slice could be something like an objection handling blueprint or an objection handling kit. And that on its own has quite a bit of standalone value because it will help people improve their close rates. And so you can name it for the dream outcome. And it could be something like, I've created this objection handling kit that will help you improve your close rates by 15%. Okay, so that's one slice of your offer, and you're tying it to a tangible dream outcome. And you're also, using one of these container words. So the name is the first thing they see in the post. If it doesn't hit their dream outcome, they just scroll past. And so actually turning these comments into pipeline, that process is pretty simple. You ask them to comment a keyword and you'll DM over, so you get a lot of comments, which pushes your post more in the algorithm. And then you make sure to ask them to connect as well, because if they don't connect, they don't receive the resource. So that actually increases your follower rate as well. Now you have more people following you, which means when you're posting, more people will be engaging on your stuff, and that will push it even more, and then it starts compounding. And you deliver the resource in the DM, in the first DM. And what you can do after that as well is you can ask a qualifying question directly after doing that. So after delivering the lead magnet saying, hey, John, appreciate you commenting. Here's your resource. Here's your objection handling kit that you asked for. By the way, are you closing your sales calls at the moment, or do you have a sales team closing? Okay, so that's the question that drives the conversation, drives the sales conversation, and then leads them to a booked call. And I'm actually gonna link a video somewhere here where I go into the conversion side of things. So this video is purely focused on the attention and the top of funnel side of things, generating these leads. And then the next video will actually be, now that you have these leads, raising their hands, engaging with your content, how do we then start conversations with them to convert them at a very high rate? And just as a teaser, we're actually using human-centric DMs rather than AI. And you'll see why that's super effective and increases your reply rates. So make sure to check that video out. And so number 4 is, now you essentially want to make it a system. So, one post hitting 300 leads is an outlier, right? It's proof the format works, but it's not something you have that happens every time you publish. So we want to make this a repeatable format. And the way you could do that is you could rotate brands and angles so it stays fresh. And then the leads compound over a few months. And so what you can also do is you can repurpose them across each platform as well. So if you make a borrowed authority format post on LinkedIn, then you can make a YouTube video on that, because that format actually performs really well on YouTube, as we've seen here with Serge Guattari's video. And then you can repurpose that into short form clips as well. From one YouTube video, you can generate like 3 or 4 clips, which drives more attention to your ecosystem and to your offer. So that's what we essentially do for clients, is we repurpose one post that is from a winning format and then scaling that across the different channels so that it becomes completely unreasonable for you not to absolutely dominate your competition and get the lion's share of leads and clients. And so this compounds over 3 to 4 months, not overnight. So consistency beats, one lucky post. You got to make sure you're consistent with this. And so if you want this built out for you, if you want to skip all the research and all the framework working and all the scripting and all the hook forming, then this is the exact same system we run for B2B SaaS founders and AI companies. So if you want to explore how this content system could be built out for you and what sort of ROI you can expect with this, then just hit the link down below and I'll be more than happy to chat about if we can help, and if not, send you in the right direction. So hope you found this valuable and hope to speak soon. Cheers.